It was just another quiet morning in California. The kind of morning where the sun rises over the Pacific, casting golden hues across the hills of Los Angeles. But little did anyone know, this day would mark the beginning of a catastrophe that would scar the state forever. January 7, 2025. A date now etched into the memories of thousands. At first, it was barely noticeable. A small plume of smoke rising over the dry hills of Pacific Palisades. To the untrained eye, it might have looked like nothing more than a brush fire. But in California, where the air is dry, and the land is parched from relentless drought, even the smallest spark can spell disaster. By mid-morning, the notorious Santa Ana winds had begun to howl, their fierce gusts reaching speeds of up to 70 miles per hour. These winds, hot and dry, raced through canyons like invisible wild beasts, turning the fragile, brittle vegetation into perfect kindling. The land was a tinderbox, waiting for a match. And then, that match struck. Whether it was a downed power line, an accident, or something more sinister, no one knows for sure. But what followed was undeniable. A flame that began no bigger than a campfire exploded into an uncontrollable inferno. By noon, the Palisades fire had been born, and it was moving faster than anyone could have anticipated. Flames danced like demons across the landscape, leaping from treetop to treetop, devouring everything in their path. The fire wasn't just spreading, it was racing. Winds whipped embers miles ahead of the main blaze, sparking new fires that firefighters hadn't even begun to anticipate. In less than 2 hours, entire neighborhoods were engulfed. Imagine having just minutes to leave behind everything you've ever known. Families scrambled to grab what they could, important documents, family heirlooms, pets, but the fire moved faster than their fear could guide them. Some didn't even have time for that. They fled in pajamas, barefoot, their homes already. By the time the sun began to set, a thick, choking orange haze had settled over Los Angeles. The sky, once blue and vibrant, was now a murky, apocalyptic canvas. Ash rained down like toxic snow, covering cars, homes, and streets. The city, known for its bustling streets and vibrant life, had fallen silent, except for the wail of sirens, the roar of flames, and the heartbreaking cries of those watching their lives turn to ash. But the nightmare didn't end there. As if fate wasn't cruel enough, another fire ignited later that same day. Near Altadena, just northeast of Los Angeles, the Eaton fire erupted with a terrifying ferocity. Now, the city wasn't just battling one monster, it was trapped between two. The Eaton fire tore through the foothills, its flames surging down towards communities already on high alert. Firefighters, already stretched beyond their limits battling the Palisades inferno, were now scrambling to contain this new blaze. But the fires were relentless, fueled by the same brutal winds and dry conditions. For many residents, there was nowhere to run. Roads were choked with traffic as thousands attempted to evacuate. Some found themselves driving through walls of flame, the heat so intense it melted car mirrors and singed hair through rolled-up windows. Others were forced to abandon their vehicles entirely, fleeing on foot through smoke so thick it blotted out the sun. By the end of the first day, both fires had burned tens of thousands of acres. But this was just the beginning. In the following days, the fires showed no signs of slowing. The Palisades fire alone scorched nearly 24,000 acres of land, transforming once lush neighborhoods into charred wastelands. Over 9,000 homes and businesses were reduced to rubble, leaving families homeless and entire communities displaced. Schools, local landmarks, and beloved parks, all gone in a matter of hours. The Eaton fire was equally devastating, burning through 14,000 acres and claiming more than 7,000 structures. The destruction wasn't just physical, it was emotional. Families returned to their neighborhoods only to find nothing but ashes where their homes once stood. The memories, the milestones, the irreplaceable treasures of their lives, all gone. The fires claimed more than just property. Lives were lost. At least 36 people perished, many of them caught in the rapid advance of the flames, unable to escape in time. Some died protecting their homes, others were found in their cars, overtaken by the fire while trying to flee. The stories of loss are gut-wrenching, like the young couple who had just moved into their dream home, or the elderly man who refused to leave behind the house where he'd lived for 50 years. But even as firefighters battled the relentless blazes, Mother Nature had no mercy. By the second week, new fires sparked across the region, stretching emergency services even thinner. The Calabasas fire erupted to the west, threatening more communities already on edge. Entire regions of Southern California were now engulfed in flames, with over 50,000 people under mandatory evacuation orders. And the skies? They were unrecognizable. Daylight never fully returned. Instead, the sun hung in the sky like a blood-red orb, casting an eerie glow over the smoky landscape. Ash continued to fall like snow, blanketing the ground in a thick, suffocating layer of gray. Imagine standing in front of your home, watching it crumble into ash, powerless against the roaring flames. The heat is unbearable, the smoke suffocating, and all you can hear is the crackle of destruction mixed with the distant wails of sirens. Families clutching each other, their lives reduced to memories in the span of minutes. Dreams, gone. History, erased. Neighbors scream names into the smoke, searching for loved ones who never made it out. The streets you once walked, now unrecognizable, buried under layers of ash and twisted metal. Pets left behind, cars melted into pools of steel, family photos turned to dust. And as the fire moves on, all that's left behind is silence, and the haunting question, how do you rebuild when everything is gone? For weeks, firefighters fought tirelessly, battling flames that seemed to have a mind of their own. Over 5,000 brave men and women risked their lives daily, working in shifts around the clock, often with little sleep or rest. Helicopters flew overhead, dumping gallons of water and flame retardant, but the winds made their efforts feel like trying to put out a volcano with a garden hose. By January 28, 2025, the fires had finally begun to relent. The winds calmed. The flames, once towering and unstoppable, began to die down. But the damage was done. The Palisades and Eaton fires, combined, had consumed nearly 40,000 acres of land. More than 16,000 structures had been destroyed, and countless lives were forever changed. The total estimated damages? A staggering $3.2 billion. But beyond the numbers, beyond the acres burned and the dollars lost, lies the human cost. Families standing in front of what was once their home, now just a pile of smoldering debris. Children who no longer have a school to attend. Entire communities grappling with the trauma of what they've endured. Yet, amidst the ashes, there is a flicker of hope. Communities have come together in ways that defy the destruction around them. Neighbors helping neighbors, strangers offering shelter, and volunteers pouring in from across the country to lend a hand. The fires may have taken their homes, but they haven't taken their spirit. And so, as California begins the long, painful process of rebuilding, one thing remains clear: the scars of this disaster will last for years, but so too will the resilience of those who survived. This is the story of the California fires. A story of devastation. A story of loss. But most of all, a story of unbreakable human spirit. Stay tuned, because this is just the beginning. We will keep you updated as the story unfolds, but for now, stay safe, stay alert, and stay prepared.